Hezbollah has fired a barrage of 35 rockets towards northern Israel. The Lebanon-based group attacked Israel last night. Sirens went off in Israel's Safed city and nearby towns. The Israeli army has said that no one was injured in the attack. Israeli fighter jets also struck a Hezbollah position in southern Lebanon. In the US, police are arresting college students who support Palestine. They arrested dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters at Yale and New York University or NYU. Student protests over Israel's war in Gaza continue to spread in college campuses. Students at Yale are demanding that the university divest from weapon manufacturers. Earlier, in-person classes were cancelled in Columbia University. This was after students were arrested for setting up tents and protesting on campus. Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi has met with Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. Raisi is on a three-day visit to Pakistan. The Iranian President and Pakistani Prime Minister pledged to boost trade between the nations. They've also vowed to increase the trade volume to $10 billion. The two neighbors seek to mend ties after tit-for-tat military strikes earlier this year. Meanwhile, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan met with Iraq's Prime Minister Mohammad Shia al-Sudani. This was in Iraq's capital, Baghdad, yesterday. Erdogan and al-Sudani held talks on security, economic and energy cooperation. After the meeting, Erdogan said that the two leaders also discussed steps against Kurdish separatists. Yesterday, North Korean leader Kim Jong-Un oversaw the country's first ever nuclear trigger drill. It was to simulate a nuclear counterattack. Pyongyang said the exercise was in response to a US-South Korean joint air drill. South Korea said that its neighbor fired several short-range ballistic missiles into the Sea of Japan. Two Malaysian military helicopters collided and crashed during a training session this morning. All the 10 crew members on board were killed. The incident occurred at the Lumut Naval Base in Malaysia's western state of Perak. The Malaysian Navy has said that it will carry out an investigation into the cause of the accident. Taiwan was shaken by a series of earthquakes overnight. More than 80 quakes rattled the island in less than 24 hours, with the largest reaching a magnitude of 6.3. Authorities say that these were aftershocks from the major earthquake that took place on April 3rd. The April 3rd earthquake had a magnitude of 7.2 and was the strongest quake to hit Taiwan in about 25 years. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has described tech billionaire Elon Musk as arrogant. This was after Musk accused Australia of censorship. An Australian judge ordered Musk's social media platform X to hide some posts. These were related to last week's knife attack on an Syrian Orthodox bishop in Sydney. X, formerly known as Twitter, had blocked the post for its users in Australia, but X refused to block the content for users outside the country. The British Parliament has approved the contentious Rwanda Asylum Bill. The bill designates Rwanda as a safe destination to deport refugees arriving in the UK. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has promised to start sending asylum seekers to Rwanda within 10 to 12 weeks. However, earlier today, Europe's top human rights body called on Britain to scrap the controversial plan. The United Nations is also calling on the UK to reconsider. A Russian airstrike hit a television tower in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv yesterday. This led to a dramatic collapse of the 240-meter-high tower. Videos showed the tower breaking in half before falling to the ground. Broadcasting signals were disrupted across Kharkiv. In New York, a jury heard the opening arguments in a case against former US President Donald Trump. This is in Trump's hush money case. Trump paid money to silence an adult actor he allegedly had an affair with. It took place just days before the 2016 presidential elections. Because of this, prosecutors are accusing Trump of engaging in election fraud. Meanwhile, the defense says Trump did not commit any crime. One of Trump's lawyers said, and I quote, "There's nothing wrong with trying to influence an election. It's called democracy." Argentina's president, Javier Milei, has said that his government has logged a rare first-quarter fiscal surplus. This is for the first time in 20 years. Milei said that his government has recorded a surplus of more than 275 billion pesos. That's about $315 million. Milei went on to thank Argentinians for enduring his economic policies. The country has been rocked by regular protests against Milei's austerity measures. In climate news, on Earth Day, US President Joe Biden announced a $7 billion grant for residential solar projects. The ambitious project will power nearly 1 million low-income households. According to the White House, the grant will also create at least 200,000 jobs. Biden also announced that young people can submit applications to join the American Climate Corps. It prepares people for jobs in climate-related industries. According to reports, students from Columbia University, Tulane University, and the University of Virginia have filed legal complaints over their university's investments in fossil fuel. The students argue that their schools' investments in planet-heating fossil fuels are illegal. They have written to the attorneys general of their respective states. These students have urged them to scrutinize their university's investment decisions. Emergency responders are battling multiple wildfires in Western Canada. Several fires broke out in the last few days, while some have been burning since last year. The fires are being fueled by an extremely dry season. Canada's government reports concerning trends of high temperatures and extreme drought conditions. According to a report by the European Union, Europe is the fastest warming continent on Earth. Temperatures are rising at a rate that is twice as high as the global average. In 2023, Europe's temperature was 1.1 degrees Celsius higher than the average. 1.1% higher than the average. Heat-related deaths have increased by 30% in the past 20 years. Torrential rains have flooded parts of Yemen like Sana'a and Mukalla. Residents were seen navigating through knee-deep waters on their vehicles and on foot. The flooding has caused severe damage to property and infrastructure, including roads and homes in Yemen. China's weather agency issued its highest-level rainstorm warning for several parts of the Guangdong province. It added that the risk of flash floods is very high. According to reports, at least 4 people have died and 10 are missing so far. In the past week, torrential rains have lashed the Guangdong province, causing rivers to overflow and triggering landslides and floods. Over 100,000 residents have been relocated since the downpours began. According to the United Nations, Asia was the world's most disaster-hit region in 2023. Floods and storms that hit the region were the major contributors to the casualties and economic losses. The UN added that heat waves across Asia have also become more severe. Meanwhile, the United Nations also stated that workers across the globe are facing health hazards linked to climate change. These are mainly people who carry out heavy labor in hot climates. They face threats from harsh UV radiation and are at risk of vector-borne diseases. It added that people working indoors in poorly ventilated areas also face high risks. On to business and tech news. American supermarket chains Kroger and Albertsons are planning to sell nearly 580 stores. This is to ease regulatory concerns around their proposed merger. In 2022, Kroger announced its plan to buy Albertsons for nearly $25 billion. However, the deal has faced regulatory hurdles. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission fears that the merger may lead to job losses and store closures. Meanwhile, America's Federal Trade Commission has also filed a lawsuit. This is to block the merger of the parent firms of two luxury brands, Coach and Michael Kors. Last year, Coach's parent company, Tapestry, proposed the acquisition of Michael Kors' owner, Capri. The acquisition would be for $8.5 billion. However, America's FTC says that the merger would reduce competition in the market. American health insurance giant United Health Group has flagged a data breach. It said that hackers potentially stole a large amount of personal data from its systems. The firm added that they were hacked by a cyber criminal group earlier this year. United Health said that the health information of many of its customers has been compromised in the attack. The Spanish cava wine producer Freixenet is planning to temporarily lay off over 600 workers. This represents over 80% of the firm's total workforce. Freixenet operates in Spain's Catalonia region. The region has been hit by a severe drought. This has caused a shortage of grapes needed for cava wine production. As per a report, the number of injuries at Elon Musk's rocket firm SpaceX is abnormally high. The report cites data from the U.S. Occupational Safety and Health Administration. SpaceX facilities in the U.S. state of Texas saw around 6 injuries per 100 workers in 2023. This was 7 times higher than the industrial standard. Electric car maker Tesla, its shares have declined by nearly 4% yesterday. This came ahead of the firm's quarterly financial results. Tesla is expecting to see a decline in its revenue for the first time in nearly 4 years. The company will report its first quarter earnings for 2024 later today. The Brazilian Supreme Court has given social media platform X 5 days to explain why it did not comply with its previous rulings. Earlier this month, Brazil's Supreme Court had ordered X, formerly known as Twitter, to block certain accounts in the country. However, X's owner, Elon Musk, said he would reactivate the accounts, calling the judge's order unconstitutional. The dating app Grindr is facing a data protection lawsuit in the UK. The app has been accused of sharing private user data with third parties without consent. The lawsuit claims that thousands of Grindr users in the UK may have been affected by this alleged breach. A Russian military court has sentenced Meta's communications director, Andy Stone, to 6 years in prison. It has accused Stone of publicly defending terrorism. Last year, Russia reportedly opened a criminal investigation against Stone over his online comments. Stone's comments allegedly defended violent actions towards Russian soldiers involved in the Ukraine war. Tech giant Apple is reportedly close to finalizing a deal with the global football governing body, FIFA. This is for worldwide television broadcast rights for a new football tournament. The deal is expected to be worth around $1 billion. FIFA is reportedly planning to start a new World Cup-style tournament in the US from next summer. And moving on to sports proper, we start with cricket and the latest from the Indian Premier League. Rajasthan Royals beat Mumbai Indians by 9 wickets in yesterday's match. Trent Bolt picked up 2 wickets for Rajasthan and helped restrict Mumbai to 179 for 9 in their 20 overs. After that, Rajasthan reached their target with 27 balls to spare. Yashasvi Jaiswal was the top scorer for Rajasthan with 104 runs. Former Indian captain Saurav has named his preferred opening duo for the upcoming T20 World Cup. He said Virat Kohli and skipper Rohit Sharma would be his ideal choice. Ganguly pointed out that India needs to play a more fearless brand of cricket. He backed Kohli by saying that he can smash a century for India in 40 balls. In football, Italy's Inter Milan have emerged as the champions of the Serie A, and they beat their arch-rivals AC Milan to do it. Inter beat second-placed AC Milan 2-1 in the historic top-of-the-table Milan derby. Inter scored goals through Francesco Acerbi and Marcus Thuram. Milan then got one back in the 80th minute via Fikayo Tomori, but it wasn't enough to deny Inter the win and the championship. Chelsea could be without their top scorer Cole Palmer ahead of tonight's Premier League clash against Arsenal. Chelsea's manager Mauricio Pochettino has said that Palmer is struggling to recover from an illness. Palmer has been Chelsea's ace this season, with the 21-year-old scoring 23 goals across all competitions. His absence would be a massive blow to Chelsea as they struggle to qualify for the Europa League. Spain's World Cup winning football captain Aitana Bonmati was named the Sportswoman of the Year at the Laureus Awards ceremony. This is the latest milestone in her record-laden career. During the 2022-23 season, she helped Barcelona lift their second Women's UEFA Champions League title. Bonmati has also won the Ballon d'Or and picked up UEFA's The Best Award in 2023. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic won the Sportsman of the Year award at the Laureus Awards. The Serbian tennis legend held off opposition from athletes like Lionel Messi, Max Verstappen and Noah Lyles. Seven-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady handed Djokovic the prestigious award. And speaking of Djokovic, reports say that he won't be participating at the upcoming Madrid Open. Djokovic has reportedly pulled out of the tournament and isn't part of the main draw. He will instead be focusing on next month's French Open. Djokovic has participated in 4 events so far this season, and he hasn't won any of them. Meanwhile, former tennis world number 1 Rafael Nadal will feature at the Laver Cup later this year. The tournament organizers have said that Nadal will play for Team Europe. The Laver Cup is a team-based tennis event where Team Europe competes against Team World. As the name suggests, Team World consists of players from outside Europe. In squash, India's Saurav Ghosal has announced his retirement from the professional circuit. He shared a post on Instagram, pulling the curtains down on a 22-year-long career. Ghosal has 3 Commonwealth Games medals and has won 2 golds at the Hangzhou Games. He remains the only Indian man to have achieved the world number 10 career ranking in squash. A race car veered off track during an event in Sri Lanka and collided with a crowd of spectators. The incident killed at least 7 people and left 20 others injured. The Sri Lankan police have launched an investigation into the mishap. To entertainment news now, the organizing committee of the Oscars 2025 have changed some rules for the ceremony. Some of the biggest changes are that up to 3 composers will now receive individual statues if they've contributed to a film. The movies shown in drive-in theaters will no longer be eligible to qualify for the Best Film category, and in the Screenplay category, makers will have to submit the final shooting script. The annual Producers Guild of America Awards will take place on February 8th next year. The ceremony will be organized at the Fairmont Century Place in Los Angeles. The award honors the work of producers in the film and television industry. Films and shows released between January 1st, 2024 and December 31st this year will be eligible for the awards. Taylor Swift has revealed the meaning behind her songs featured in the Tortured Poets Department album. She wrote that the track Who's Afraid of Little Old Me to reflect on society's treatment of artists. The song My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys is about being valued in the beginning of a relationship which later changes. Meanwhile, Florida is on the lines of people wanting new identities after a breakup. South Korean boy band BTS has launched a mental health initiative with UNICEF. It is a part of their Love Myself campaign. The aim is to improve the mental health of the youth across the world. People can send electronic postcards with thoughts on their mind, which will appear on UNICEF's website. Singer Celine Dion appeared for an interview for the first time after getting diagnosed with a neurological disorder in 2022. The singer recently appeared on the cover of a magazine. In the cover interview, she stated that she felt strong and positive about the future. She is taking it one day at a time. Celine Dion has been diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, which causes muscle spasms, making it challenging to move. The trailer for Marvel's upcoming film Deadpool and Wolverine was released yesterday. The characters of Deadpool and Wolverine are seen in an intense fighting scene. Deadpool and Wolverine exit the trailer by jumping through a portal, which hinted towards the addition of Doctor Strange. The film will hit theaters on July 26th. The premiere of Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt's upcoming film, The Fall Guy, took place in London. During the event, Gosling said that the film turns the spotlight on stunt performers. The film features Gosling as a top Hollywood stuntman whose career ends after an incident on set. The film will release on April 24th. Actor Anne Hathaway had to kiss a handful of men during an audition in the 2000s. Hathaway revealed this during an interview. She said this was done by the makers to find her the perfect co-star. The actor added that she felt grossed out by it, but pretended to be excited. While talking about Spider-Man 4, Tom Holland said that the makers are ensuring that they don't overdo the things that they've done in the past. He emphasized the importance of protecting a shared legacy. Holland says that he's seeking the perfect story for the movie's fourth installment. Australian actor Rebel Wilson has claimed in her memoir, Rebel Rising, that she was invited to a wild party in 2014 by a British royal family member. She revealed that drugs were served as candy in a tray during the party. The party organizer was a US tech billionaire who is 15th or 20th in line to the British throne.